Hello and welcome. Today's piece is a fragrant dive into the bitter orange tree, its flowers, its fruit, its leaves, and its long poetic history in perfumery. We'll be exploring not just the components we know by name, neroli, petitgrain, bitter orange essential oil, orange blossom absolute, and orange blossom water absolute, but the soul of the tree itself. From ancient ceremonies to modern blending rooms, this is both a practical guide and a love letter to one of perfumery's most iconic plants. Whether you're here as a perfumer, a poet, or simply a curious nose, I hope this journey offers you something rich and inspiring. The bitter orange tree, 5 fragrant treasures in perfumery. The bitter orange tree, Citrus aurantium varamara, also known as Seville orange or bigarade, is a gift to perfumery, famously yielding not one but 5 distinct fragrant materials. From its blossoms, leaves, and fruit come a spectrum of essences: orange blossom absolute, neroli, which is orange blossom essential oil, orange blossom water absolute, petitgrain, which is from the leaf or twig, and bitter orange peel oil. Each extract has its own character, from honeyed floral depths to sparkling citrus heights, yet all spring from the same tree. This remarkable versatility led 19th century perfumer Septimus P.S. to declare the orange tree the most valuable of all to the perfumer, noting it yields fragrant treasures from leaves, flowers, and rind alike. In this guide, we explore each of the bitter orange tree's aromatic gifts in depth. We'll uncover their historical and cultural uses, from bridal bouquets to ancient remedies, their olfactory and chemical profiles, and their traditional pairings in classical perfumes. We'll also see how modern natural perfumers blend these essences, harmonizing or contrasting them to create evocative scents. Prepare for an inspiring journey that blends practical knowledge with a touch of romance, following the orange tree from root to tip in all its scented glory. Orange Blossom Absolute, the heady floral heart. Orange Blossom Absolute is the most opulent extract of the bitter orange's blossoms, a solvent extracted concentrate of the flower's scent. Historically, before modern solvents, perfumers captured this aroma through enfleurage or maceration, saturating fat with orange blossoms to create pomades and then extracting them with alcohol. P.S. in 1857 describes how enfleurage pomade yields an extract of orange flowers, a handkerchief perfume surpassed by none. So true to the living blossom that even an expert could not distinguish the scent of the extract from that of the flower. In the Victorian era, orange blossom's intoxicating perfume was a favourite for bridal bouquets and wreaths, symbolising purity and love. Queen Victoria herself wore a wreath of orange blossoms at her 1840 wedding, establishing a tradition of brides adorned with these fragrant white flowers. It was even said that a tincture of neroli, orange flower, was prescribed to anxious brides on their wedding night for its calming effect. Scent profile. The scent profile of Orange Blossom Absolute is a sumptuous floral with a deep narcotic sweetness. It exudes a honeyed, warm, orange floral aroma laced with indolic and slightly animalic undertones from traces of jasmine like indole. There is a fresh green aspect and a rich balsamic sweetness that some compare to beeswax or honeysuckle. This rich complexity comes from chemical components like methyl anthranilate, up to 10%, imparting fruity grape like sweetness, plus indole and orange flower pyrazines contributing green earthy facets. Perfumers often note that Orange Blossom Absolute captures the true soul of the bloom rather than the distilled oil. It's warmer, headier, and more animalic, while neroli, the essential oil, is lighter and purer. In fact, despite coming from the same petals, Orange Blossom Absolute is often described as the dirtier, more sensual sibling versus neroli's innocent freshness. One source contrasts them. Neroli has a pure, citrusy, light scent, whereas Orange Blossom Absolute is far more honeyed, heady, and a little dirty. Historical uses and perfumery. Thanks to its lush aroma, Orange Blossom Absolute found roles in both Oriental and floral classic perfumes. It was a key ingredient in iconic early 20th century creations. For example, Guerlain's masterpieces Après les Données in 1906 and L'Heure Bleuie in 1912 rely on a sensual orange blossom note in their powdery floral hearts. In masculine perfumery, despite its floral nature, Orange Blossom Absolute also shines. It contributes a clean yet voluptuous note in classic eau de cologne types and even fougères. Arctander noted in 1960 that Orange Blossom Floral Absolute is used in countless types of perfumes, from heavy orientals and ambers to light citrus colognes, chypres, and floral bouquets. It has a chameleon-like ability to add a luscious floralcy or a fresh soapy brightness depending on context. For instance, in exotic oriental blends, it enhances the narcotic floral richness, while in crisp cologne it lends a softly clean orange blossom soap note that lifts the whole composition. Traditionally, Orange Blossom Absolute pairs beautifully with other heady white florals, jasmine, tuberose, ylang ylang, and balsamic notes. It also blends well with citrus oils and petitgrain, linking the top and heart of a perfume. As Arctander observed, it forms excellent combinations with citrus essences like petitgrain and jasmines and even resins like myrrh. In a perfume formula, a touch of Orange Blossom Absolute can act as a fixative base for colognes. It's more tenacious than the essential oil and reinforce the natural orange floral theme. For example, just a small amount can give a tenacious floral trail to an eau de cologne, marrying the fleeting citrus to a gentle floral persistence. A practical tip: Orange Blossom Absolute is extremely potent. A little goes a long way. In natural perfumery, one might soften its indolic intensity by blending in a bit of neroli oil for freshness or tame its sweetness with a green note. For instance, an artisan might create a fleur d'oranger accord by combining a few drops of Orange Blossom Absolute with neroli, a trace of jasmine absolute, and perhaps a green herb or petitgrain. This yields a rounded orange flower note that is both fresh and deep. Because of its high cost, perfumers often extend Orange Blossom Absolute with complementary naturals like benzoin resinoid for warmth or honeyed broom absolute. But even on its own, true Orange Blossom Absolute remains one of perfumery's most romantic and evocative essences, the very fragrance of sunlit white petals concentrated. Neroli essential oil, the radiant citrus floral spirit. Neroli oil is the essential oil distilled from orange blossoms, a lighter, brighter expression of the flower's scent. Its name is often linked to legendary 17th century Italian princess Anne Marie delle Tremoli, the Princess of Nerola, who adored the essence and popularized it by perfuming her gloves and bath with orange flower oil. Thanks to her, the term neroli entered perfumery to denote this precious oil. Historically, neroli production centered around the Mediterranean. Thousands of fresh blossoms are gently steam distilled immediately after harvesting, often at dawn in April. It takes about 850 to 1,000 kilos of flowers to produce just 1 kilo of neroli oil, which explains its high price and prized status. The finest quality has long been called neroli petale, traditionally from blossoms of the bitter orange in Tunisia or France. A slightly lower grade, neroli bigarade, comes from Seville orange blossoms. In the 19th century, P.S. noted that neroli petale from Citrus aurantium was considered superior to neroli bigarade from Citrus bigaradiea, the Seville orange. Though modern botanists consider these the same species, quality can vary by terroir. Scent profile of neroli essential oil. Neroli's aroma is ethereal, fresh, and uplifting, a delicate citrus kissed floral. It opens with a distinctive sweet green and spicy top note, often described as sweet orange blossom with a touch of tart petitgrain like twist. There is a bright citrus facet. Neroli contains a higher proportion of light terpenes like limonene, ocimene, and pinene that give it a sparkling, almost bergamot-like freshness. Beneath the citrus sparkle lies a clean floral heart of orange blossom, rich in linalool and linalool acetate, with subtle green and herbal nuances. Unlike the absolute, neroli oil has only a trace of indole and a much gentler animalic aspect. Its floralcy is often described as innocent or pure. There can be hints of sweet honey and orange zest, and in high quality neroli, a delightful whisper of jasmine from trace components like cisjasmone and perhaps indole, and a grape like sweetness from methyl antranilate. Overall, neroli feels radiant and volatile, a top to heart note that isn't very tenacious. Arctander describes neroli oil as very powerful, light and refreshing, floral with a peculiar sweet terpene top note, but rather poor tenacity. It is primarily a top note material. Its delightful perfume fills the air quickly but doesn't linger long. Historical uses and perfumery. Neroli's cheerful yet elegant scent made it a core ingredient of the world's first popular colognes. In fact, classic eau de cologne, developed in the 1700s, cannot be imagined without neroli. Farina's original Kölnisch Wasser and the famous 4711 eau de cologne from 1792 both prominently featured neroli among their citrus bouquet. It's reported that vintage 4711 used up to 7% neroli oil, a remarkably high dose. lending a distinctive orange floral tone to its lemon bergamot accord. P.S. gave formulas for cologne in 1857 that call for several ounces of neroli per gallon of spirit, demonstrating its central role in a premier quality cologne. He includes 3 ounces of neroli petale and 1 ounce of neroli bigarade, alongside orange peel, citron or lemon, and bergamot oils. This shows how neroli acts as a bridge between citrus top notes and floral heart. It has a foot in both worlds. Indeed, neroli's classic partners are other citrus oils such as bergamot, lemon, orange, and green herbal notes such as rosemary, lavender, herbs, and this is to create refreshing eau de cologne and fresh floral blends. It also pairs beautifully with eau fraiche and fougères. Its petitgrain-like aspect complements lavender and oak moss. Beyond colognes, traces of neroli appear in numerous classic perfumes for its bright floral sparkle. It is found in floral adelic compositions like Chanel No. 5 and Arpegé, where it boosts the fresh top and adds subtle floral sweetness. In chypres and fougères, a bit of neroli can lend a suave freshness. Example, Miss Dior from 1947 has an orange blossom touch in its green floral heart. And of course, neroli has a starring role in many soliflores and modern orange blossom themed perfumes. Example, Creed's Neroli Sauvage and Penhaligon's Castile, or Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino, all celebrate its sunny elegance. In perfumery, neroli is prized for imparting a freshly washed cleanness. Its common note in clean florals and even some luxe soaps, and a gentle floral luminosity that appeals in both feminine and masculine scents. As one perfumery guide notes, neroli is effortlessly bright, citrusy, and green. It works perfectly in white florals, colognes, and any floral scent, adding a light citrus floral element ideal for unisex compositions. Therapeutic and cultural notes. Culturally, neroli water was used as a soothing tonic. Even today, orange blossom water, a byproduct of neroli distillation, is sprinkled in Mediterranean and Middle Eastern traditions to welcome guests or calm nerves. In folk medicine and aromatherapy, neroli oil is famed for its relaxing properties, long used as an anti-anxiety and sleep remedy. In southern France, children are given orange blossom hydrosol in warm milk and honey to help them sleep peacefully. It's ironic that such a calming scent had a risque chapter. In one era, neroli was reportedly worn so heavily by courtesans in Italy that its fragrance became associated with prostitution, earning a scandalous reputation. Thankfully, that stigma faded and neroli returned to its status as a universal symbol of purity and joy, from bridal perfumes to baby colognes. Practical usage. In modern natural perfumery, neroli can be used as a bright top note lift in floral blends. Because it is volatile and not tenacious, natural perfumers often fix neroli by pairing it with its own derivatives. For example, adding a touch of orange blossom absolute or a drop of benzoin resin to help anchor neroli's fleeting beauty. It combines well with petitgrain. Some distillers even make a co-distillation of neroli and petitgrain. A simple all-natural cologne can be made by blending neroli with other citrus and herbal oils. For instance, one classic style formula might be neroli essential oil, 4 parts for its floral citrus sparkle, bitter orange peel oil, 5 parts for its bright juicy top note, lemon or citron oil, 5 parts for the fresh tart citrus notes, bergamot oil, 2 parts for the sweet aromatic citrus, petitgrain oil, 2 parts for the green woody nuance, rosemary or lavender oil, 1 part for the herbal lift, and this is optional, and then diluted in 100 parts of 70% alcohol and let macerate for 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks. Such a blend echoes P.S.'s old cologne recipes, with neroli and petitgrain forming the heart of the accord. The result is a refreshing eau de cologne where neroli's sweet floral note shines among the citrus, giving a full bouquet feel. Orange Blossom Water Absolute, the hidden byproduct. Not as famous as neroli or orange flower absolute, Orange Blossom Water Absolute is nevertheless a fascinating material. It is essentially a byproduct extract obtained by solvent extracting the hydrosol or the distillation water left after steam distilling orange blossoms for neroli oil. During distillation, many heavier or water-soluble fragrant molecules remain dissolved in the orange flower water. Rather than waste that, producers, notably in Tunisia and Morocco, wash the spent distillation water and flower pulp with solvents to capture remaining aromatic compounds, yielding what's called orange flower water absolute. This extract was available by mid-20th century, sometimes called orange flower water concrete or absolute, but it's still relatively niche. Many natural perfumers have embraced it as a way to get every last drop of aroma from the precious blossoms. The scent profile of Orange Blossom Water Absolute. Orange Blossom Water Absolute has a scent similar in theme to Orange Blossom Absolute, but with a unique twist. It is often described as harsher, greener, and less indolic than the primary Blossom Absolute. Imagine a pure orange floral scent, but without as much of the heavy honey or animalic sweetness. Instead, a more astringent, bitter green floral note comes through. One supplier describes it as a typical smell of orange flower water with a bitter green citrus character, essentially the aroma of orange blossom hydrosol concentrated. The earthy quality is also noteworthy. Traces of plant water compounds and possibly pyrazines give it an intensely earthy, herbaceous undertone that Orange Blossom Absolute and Neroli lack. It still unmistakably smells of orange blossom, but compared to the lush Absolute, it feels sharper, drier, and more bracingly floral. Some say it can even have a candied orange peel or slightly phenolic nuance. Interestingly, it contains minimal indole, that didn't make it into the hydrosol, so it lacks the animalic depth of the main absolute. Instead, one might detect more of the soapy floral and green facets of the orange blossom. Uses and blending. Orange blossom water absolute is often used as a nuancer in perfume compositions, especially in natural perfumery. Because it has an earthy, bitter edge, it can round out an orange blossom accord by adding realism, reminiscent of crushed orange flower petals and stems. Perfumers might blend a touch of it with neroli or orange blossom absolute to enhance the orange water note and introduce a subtle complexity. One supplier notes it is ideal as a nuancer and enricher for other orange flower products, contributing an earthy depth. It can prevent a blossom accord from becoming too cloying by injecting a fresh floral bite. In compositions where petally or cologne like orange blossom is desired, for example, in a light eau de toilette or herbal blend, orange flower water absolute can provide that clean floral tone without heavy sweetness. In classic perfumery, this material has not been widely documented. It was likely not produced in P.S.'s day, but we can surmise it finds use in modern creations that aim for a true to nature orange blossom water scent. Think of the delicate aroma of orange blossom cologne splash or the faint fragrance of orange groves after rain. Orange flower water absolute evokes that. From a chemical standpoint, it likely contains some phenylethanol, terpenoids, and hydrolyzed glycosides from the water, which could explain its slightly phenolic, tea-like, and green facet. Modern natural perfumers sometimes choose it to boost the top and heart of citrus floral blends, and it pairs very well with things like petitgrain, bergamot, and herbs, which match its green bitterness, and can also marry nicely with light woods and tea notes, complementing its earthy floral aspect. Practical tip: use orange blossom water absolute sparingly. It is powerful and can be a bit harsh on its own. Just a few drops can modify an accord. For example, in crafting a natural orange blossom cologne, one might choose neroli for brightness, and a touch of orange blossom absolute for sweetness, and a drop of orange blossom water absolute for a realistic green floral lift. This trifecta yields a round portrayal of orange blossom. The neroli gives sparkle, the absolute gives depth, and the water absolute gives authentic, fresh floral bite. As one perfumer describes, the combination captures both the heady blossom and the bitter green water aspect of the flower, almost like smelling an entire orange tree at dawn. Petitgrain, the essence of leaves and twigs. Petitgrain is the essential oil from the bitter oranges, leaves, and twigs, and historically small unripe fruits. Its name comes from French petit grain, meaning little grain, referring to the tiny green oranges once used in its distillation. In the early days, farmers would thin the trees by removing small bitter oranges or little grains and distill them with the leaves, yielding an oil with a floral citrus aroma. Eventually, to preserve fruit for marmalade, distillers shifted to using mainly the leaf prunings and young shoots after the blossom harvest. The name stuck even though today's petitgrain bigarade oil is essentially leaf and twig oil. Major production moved to Paraguay in the 19th and 20th centuries, where wild orange groves, often hybrids of sweet and bitter orange, provided abundant leaves. By volume, Paraguay petitgrain became one of the most important, though France, North Africa, and others also produce fine petitgrain oils. Scent profile. Petitgrain Bigarade oil has a bright, bittersweet green citrus scent with a lovely floral undertone. It is often described as the scent of fresh orange leaves crushed in hand, herbaceous, light, woody, and floral fresh all at once. There is a definite family resemblance to orange blossom since petitgrain shares many constituents, especially linalool and linylyl acetate, but it's less sweet and heady. Arctander describes good petitgrain as a pale yellow to olive liquid of strong, bittersweet, woody floral odour. The top note is somewhat harsh, but it quickly gives way to a sweet floral body note with a slight wood herbaceous undertone. The dry out is sweet, delicate wood floral. In plainer terms, when you first smell petitgrain oil, you get a sharp green and somewhat spicy citrus punch, that harsh note almost like crushed leaf and peel. Then it softens into a sweet neroli-like floral heart with a touch of greenness and fades fairly quickly since it's not very tenacious. Compared to neroli, petitgrain is greener and woodier, lacking neroli's intense orange floral top, but it still has a gentle orange blossom nuance in the background. It also sometimes carries a slight tea-like or cologne-like note. Some detect hints of lavender or clary sage character due to linylyl acetate content. Chemically, linylyl acetate can make up half or more of petitgrain oil, giving that sweet bergamot lavender vibe, while linalool provides fresh floralcy. There are also small amounts of nerolidol, geraniol, and terpenol, and other floral alcohols contributing to the soft heart. A unique aspect are traces of petitgrain's own terpenes and perhaps a tobacco-like note. Some oils have, maybe from methyl anthranilate or coumarin facets in certain batches, but overall its profile is fresh, clean, gently floral green, less flashy than the blossom, but utterly charming. Uses in perfumery. Petitgrain has been a workhorse of classical perfumery, especially valued in citrus colognes, fougères, and soap fragrances. Its refreshing, slightly woody floral aroma is extremely versatile. In fact, Arctander notes petitgrain oil is one of the most widely used naturals in perfumery. One reason it helps form a bridge between citrus top notes, floral heart notes, and even woody bases. For example, in a classic eau de cologne, petitgrain can join the lemons and bergamot in the top with the orange floral heart, neroli, and perhaps a touch of rosemary. P.S. wrote that petitgrain, which he called neroli petitgrain, was mainly used for scenting soap in his day. Indeed, its inexpensive grades from Paraguay were widely used in soap perfumery for a clean citrus floral scent that survives the alkali of soap making. The aroma of fine orange blossom soap often comes not from true neroli, too costly, but from petitgrain and orange terpenes. In fougère perfumes, think classic men's fragrances with lavender coumarin accord. Petitgrain is a common component. It blends with lavender and oak moss to add a bright verdant note and extend the citrus freshness of bergamot in the top. It also complements cheaper blends, contributing a cologne-like sparkle that lifts the often heavy resinous base. For instance, a dash of petitgrain in a chypres top can augment bergamot and give a subtle floral touch, linking to any orange blossom in the heart. Petitgrain's traditional friends in formulas include other citrus and herbal notes. It pairs excellently with bergamot, lemon, sweet orange, rosemary, sage, verbena, etc., and with florals like neroli, lavender, and geranium. It's often used as a natural modifier. Petitgrain is routinely employed to form a bridge between citrus, floral, and woody notes of a fragrance and to give a mild fixation to the most volatile citrus oils. In practice, perfumers combine it with a base or fixative to hold it, since petitgrain on its own isn't very long lasting. Arctander suggests it needs solid fixation since the oil itself has no strong fixatives, recommending classic fixatives like balsams, tolu, benzoin, laudanum. Historical and cultural notes. Petitgrain has less romantic lore than neroli, but it played a big role in the fragrance industry, especially from the 1800s onwards. Paraguay petitgrain oil was so important that it became the standard. Arctander wrote in 1961 that in respect to volume, this is by far the most important of all petitgrain oils, produced mainly in Paraguay from bitter orange trees. He described Paraguayan oil's odour much as above and noted it was distilled right after the flower harvest when leaves are trimmed. Interestingly, the origin of petitgrain in Europe came via France. Petitgrain de Bigarade from the bitter oranges in Provence and Riviera. In fact, the name petitgrain was originally also applied to oils from other citrus leaves like lemon and bergamot, example petitgrain citronnière from lemon leaves, but petitgrain bigarade, bitter orange, remains the classic perfumer's petitgrain. In terms of aromatherapy or home use, petitgrain has a reputation as a soothing anti-anxiety oil, much like neroli. Marge Clark of Nature's Gift recounts it calms the monkey mind of insomnia and is used for stress relief. In effect, it shares some relaxing components with neroli. Linalool is calming, so it has been a cheaper substitute for emotional uses. Perfumers in the 19th century even sometimes referred to petitgrain as neroli for the poor because it can impart an orange floral scent at a fraction of neroli's cost. Practical usage. Petitgrain is extremely useful for natural perfumers as a top and mid note modifier. In all natural compositions, if a citrus accord is too bland or one dimensional, a dash of petitgrain can add complexity and longevity. The esters in petitgrain last a bit longer than straight citrus terpenes. It is also a handy way to introduce an orange blossom hint without choosing precious neroli. For example, a natural perfumer might blend petitgrain with a small amount of lang lang and perhaps a touch of orange blossom absolute to create a cost-effective orange floral base for a perfume. The petitgrain supplies freshness and the green floral facets. The lang gives extra floral depth and a hint of absolute gives authenticity. Another modern technique is using petitgrain sur fleur co-distillations, where bitter orange leaves are distilled together with a portion of the blossoms. This yields an oil that inherently combines petitgrain's green woody notes with some neroli-like floralcy in one material. Perfumers who prefer simplicity might opt for such a co-distill to get a balanced whole tree note. Petitgrain sur fleur has a balanced blend of fresh citrus and delicate floral notes, capturing the whole orange leaf and flower in harmony. In blending, remember Arctander's tip. Petitgrain oil has great power but low persistence, so use base notes to anchor it. It excels in cologne, herbal and light floral formulas. Even a simple mix of petitgrain with lavender and a drop of patchouli can create a classic soap cologne scent. In summary, petitgrain is the green heartbeat of the orange tree's scent, connecting the bright blossoms with the woody notes. It brings a piece of the grove's shade into the perfume. Finally, we have the bitter orange peel oil, the essential oil cold pressed from the rind of the bitter orange fruit, also known as oil of bigarade, or sometimes essence of Portugal, an old term PS uses. This is the bitter counterpart to sweet orange oil. While sweet orange oil, Citrus sinensis peel oil, is candy sweet and familiar, think fresh orange juice aroma. Bitter orange oil, Citrus aurantium var. Aroma peel, has a more complex tart character. Bitter oranges are largely grown for marmalade and liqueurs like caracal, but their peels yield a beautiful oil with perfumery value, especially in classical compositions. Scent profile. Bitter orange smells citrusy and fresh, with a distinctive bitter, dry undertone that sets it apart from other oranges. Arctander describes the expressed bitter orange oil as a mobile liquid of dark yellow to a live yellow colour. The odour is fresh with a bitter, dry, and lasting sweet note, with underlying facets reminiscent of bergamot, grapefruit, and sweet orange. In essence, it combines elements of other citrus. It has the sparkling sweetness of sweet orange, the sophisticated slight floral bitterness of bergamot, and even a pungent hint of grapefruit's bite. This complexity comes from minor constituents. Bitter orange oil is predominantly limonene, 90% or more, but that remaining few percent includes some powerful aromatics, notably aldehydes like octanol or decanol, which gives a dry, peel, zesty note. Perhaps a touch of nerol or linalool, traces of floralcy, and furancumarins, which don't smell but lend a bitter taste and UV sensitivity. Some bitter orange oils also contain bergapten, which related coumarins that actually give subtle bitter green nuance and cause phototoxicity akin to bergamot if not removed. The overall effect is an orange oil that is less sugary and more perfumed in, in scent than sweet orange. Many describe bitter orange oil as having a petitgreen like edge and a more aromatic peel aroma, likely because the bitter orange fruit often comes with more of the leaf and white pith intact, carrying some green notes into the oil. When you smell it, the top note is intensely citrusy, limonene hit, but soon a certain spicy floral and bitter peel aroma blooms, which is what makes it so valuable in perfumery. Sweet orange oil can fade, smelling just candy-like, where bitter orange oil leaves a delicate, elegant citrus veil that lasts a bit longer and feels more refined. This oil is still primarily a top note, but it has a slightly longer life and richer dry down than sweet orange. Uses in perfumery. Bitter orange peel oil has been used similarly to bergamot and sweet orange in classical perfumery as a bright top note in everything from colognes to chypres. In fact, traditional eau de cologne formulations favour bitter orange for a more complex citrus profile. For example, PS's first quality cologne formula calls for 5 ounces of orange peel oil, likely bitter orange given the context, per 6 gallons of spirit, equal to the lemon oil content and more than bergamot. This shows how valued it was for a true cologne accord. Bitter orange oil's slightly bitter, tart edge gives a classic cologne a sophisticated twist, preventing it from being too sweet. It pairs exceptionally well with neroli and petitgrain. These three together truly give the whole orange tree effect in a fragrance. In a sense, bitter orange oil provides the sparkling sunlit top, neroli the floral heart, and petitgrain the green bridge. Perfumers often blend bitter orange with bergamot, the quintessential top note, and find the two complement each other. Bergamot is softly floral citrus, bitter orange is the sharper citrus. Together, they cover the citrus spectrum. In chypre and fougere compositions, bitter orange can substitute or complement bergamot. It introduces a tad more zest and less sweetness. Some early 20th century chypres likely include a mix of citrus, including bitter orange for complexity. Guerlain's classic Eau de Fleur de Cidrat, a citrus fragrance, reportedly used bigarade orange for its vibrant lemony orange note. In modern niche perfumery, perfumers like Jean-Claude Elena have celebrated bitter orange. He created bigarade concentrate for Frédéric Mallet, a fragrance entirely centered on the bittersweet radiance of the bigarade peel. One interesting role of bitter orange oil is recreating citrus effects that last, because bitter orange has some tenacious components, the coumarins and certain oxygenated traces. It can help a citrus accord persist a bit more. It also has a slight floral undertone, which means it transitions nicely into heart notes like neroli, rose, or even herbal notes. Perfumers sometimes choose bitter orange in warm citrus blends or where a Mediterranean citrus character is wanted. It evokes Seville orange gardens. Cultural and other uses. Outside perfumery, bitter orange oil has been used as a flavour in liqueurs like Marnier and various bitters. Culturally, the bitter orange fruit itself is an emblem of Seville in Spain. Its blossoms yield neroli, its peels favour the famous British marmalade, and its oil has a legacy in both food and fragrance. In aromatherapy, bitter orange peel oil is not commonly used as sweet orange, though some use it for its bright, uplifting scent. It shares the mood elevating limonene quality. However, caution due to its furon coumarins, expressed bitter orange peel can be phototoxic like bergamot, so its topical use in perfumery is limited by IFRA concentration guidelines. Many modern bitter orange oils are available in furu coumarin free versions, distilled or filtered, to avoid this issue. Practical usage. In natural perfumery, bitter orange oil is a must have for citrus cords. A perfumer making 100% natural cologne might include bitter orange oil to lend depth that lemon and sweet orange alone can't provide. It is also helpful when you want a citrus note to complement florals like orange blossom or lavender without overpowering them. Bitter orange oil's subtle floral hint make it ideal. For example, a natural perfumer might create a citrus bouquet accord with 3 parts bergamot, 2 parts bitter orange, and 2 parts sweet orange, 1 part lemon, and a touch of petitgrain. The bitter orange in that mix would provide a sophisticated backbone and help bridge into the heart where neroli or lavender might lie. One can also experiment with bitter orange oil in combination with spices or resins. Its bitter aspect pairs nicely with cardamom, clove, or frankincense. Some classic potpourri and pomanders relied on dried bitter orange studded with cloves. As a top note, use it generously, but remember it will evaporate. Anchor it with a bit of petitgrain or a resin if possible. In summary, bitter orange essential oil is the glittering top voice of the orange tree song, bright and optimistic, yet with a refined bitter edge. It opens the perfume with a sunny smile and leaves a subtle, elegant sweetness as it fades. Harmony of the orange tree, blending all 5. Individually, each part of the bitter orange tree offers a unique olfactory colour. The blossom absolute is deep gold and honeyed, neroli is bright white and green, the water absolute is earthen and pale green, petitgrain is vibrant chartreuse, and bitter orange is vivid orange and yellow. Imagine now orchestrating them together. The result can be a magnificent symphony that evokes the entire orange tree in bloom. Perfumers, both past and present, have been enchanted by this idea of using all facets of the tree to create a complete complex accord. In a well crafted perfume, these materials can harmonise seamlessly. As one modern reviewer said of an all natural orange blossom fragrance, the palette of bitter orange oil, leafy petitgrain, and the honeyed blossom mingle with graceful sunlit affinity. In a well crafted perfume, these materials can harmonise seamlessly. As one modern reviewer said of an all natural orange blossom fragrance, the palette of bitter orange oil, leafy petitgrain, and the honeyed blossom mingle with graceful sunlit affinity. Indeed, when you blend together orange peel, petitgrain, and orange flower extracts together, they tend to complement each other, reinforcing the familiar aspects and filling in each other's gaps. The citrus oil and petitgrain supply the fresh, lively top, so the floral notes don't seem too heavy, while neroli and orange blossom absolute provide a lasting floral heart, so the citrus doesn't vanish too quickly. And the water absolute or petitgrain add a touch of green earth realism, preventing the sweet floral from becoming cloying. However, balancing them requires skill. Too much neroli and an accord might skew cologne like. Too much absolute and it can overwhelm with headiness. A trick is to use each in proportion to its strength. Since orange blossom absolute is very potent and bassy, it might form a small percentage, whereas neroli and petitgrain, being lighter, can be used more liberally. Bitter orange oil can be used at high concentration as a top note, but one must remember its bitter nuance can dominate if others are in trace. Traditional pairings. Classic formulas often deliberately combined these materials. We saw P.S.'s cologne that had both neroli petale and neroli bigarade oils, plus orange peel and petitgrain. This layered approach gave eau de colognes its full-bodied yet refreshing profile. In another example, the famous Hungary water, a medieval herbal tonic perfume, was said to be heavy on rosemary, but later versions included orange blossom to improve its aroma, again illustrating how orange floral notes elevate herbal citrus bases. Many classic perfumes quietly weave multiple orange tree essences throughout their structure. For instance, a vintage floral might use neroli in the top for sparkle and orange blossom absolute in the heart for opulence. Guerlain's Lured Bleu reportedly has both neroli for a bright opening and orange blossom absolute in the heart with heliotrope, contributing to its dreamy powdery glow. In masculine sense, a eau de fleur d'orange accord might be made by blending petitgrain, neroli, and perhaps trace absolute into fougere, lending an aromatic floral lift. The legendary 4711 Eau de Cologne not only showcased neroli and citrus, but some versions also had petitgrain and even a bit of orange flower extract, achieving that unmistakable clean yet flowery cologne aura. Modern natural perfumery. Today, natural perfumers often explicitly strive to capture the whole orange tree. One notable example is Hiram Green's Dilettante from 2016, an all-natural perfume composed of essentially orange blossom absolute, petitgrain, and bitter orange oil. Reviews praise how the petitgrain elevates the orange blossom, which in turn softens the petitgrain. The result is intoxicating. The synergy is such that each material enhances the others. The blossom becomes more green fresh and the leaf becomes more floral sweet. In Dilettante, as one base notes description put it, orange flower, petitgrain, and orange oil from the triptych to truly simulate walking through an orange grove. Another modern creation, Parfum de Nicolai's Neroli Intense, is lauded for capturing the whole orange tree for summer, likely by using all these facets in concert. Natural perfumers without synthetics rely on these compositions to achieve richness, since they can't use an aroma chemical like arantiol or neroli to bolster the orange blossom note. They instead layer neroli, orange blossom absolute, and petitgrain to build an accord that has sparkle, body, and diffusion. Each piece contributes: neroli for diffusion, absolute for body, petitgrain for lift, bitter orange for sparkle, water absolute for naturalness. The result, when balanced, is a remarkably complete and true orange blossom note that is also longer lasting than any one part alone. Contrast and nuance. While harmonizing is the goal, sometimes using these materials in contrast can be creative too. For example, pairing the earthy roughness of orange flower water absolute with the smooth sweetness of orange blossom absolute creates an interesting textural contrast, like adding a drop of bitterness to highlight the sweet. Or consider bitter orange oil contrasted with the gourmand note, say vanilla or benzoin. The bitter orange prevents the sweetness from being too sugary and adds elegance. In an all orange tree blend, one must ensure the green bitterness from petitgrain or water absolute doesn't overpower the floral. Generally, the floral aspects are softer, so a wise formula might use less of the aggressive green notes and just enough to give complexity. Practical formulation suggestions. For those who want to experiment, here's an example of an orange tree accord that uses all parts: neroli or orange blossom oil 30%, petitgrain oil, bitter orange leaf 25%, bitter orange peel oil 20%, orange blossom absolute 5%, orange flower water absolute 5%, and other notes 15%. Could include a touch of bergamot or lemon for extra sparkle, a tiny amount of jasmine or ylang for floral depth, or perhaps a fixative like ambrette or benzoin to round it out. This is just a conceptual ratio. The idea is that neroli, petitgrain, and bitter orange dominate the blend, fresh green citrusy aspects, while a small amount of the absolute and water absolute give the true floral heart and natural depth. The other notes, optional 15%, allow you to tweak. Example, a smidge of clary sage or lavender could augment the herbaceous side, or a little sandalwood or resin could anchor the base. After blending, let it melt for a few days. The result could smell like sticking your nose in a blooming bitter orange tree: citrus, blossoms, leaves, bark, all at once. When used together, these materials are remarkably complementary because they literally come from one organism and share aromatic molecules. Linalool, for example, is in both neroli and petitgrain, methylanthranilate in both neroli and absolute. Limonene is in the peel and even a bit in neroli. These shared components create a natural cohesion, yet each brings something unique: indole only from the absolute, certain green notes only from the petitgrain, specific aldehydes from the peel, etc., preventing any single material monotony. One might worry about redundancy using all parts, but nature has designed it such that the flower, leaf, and fruit each concentrate different aspects of the flower tree's scent. Together, they create a fuller spectrum. It's akin to a chord in music, multiple related notes forming a richer sound. Finally, beyond technical blending, there is something poetic about uniting all five. It's like capturing the entire life cycle of the orange tree in one fragrance. The bitter orange tree has symbolized fertility and love through its blossoms, and also longevity and renewal. It's evergreen and bears fruit and flowers together. A perfume that contains its root, leaf, flower, and fruit essences is almost an olfactory portrait of that tree. Many perfumery students and artisans find this deeply inspiring. It reminds us that a single plant can offer a complete perfumer's palette, a lesson in creativity and sustainability. No part goes to waste. As Stefan Arctender wrote, on this account perhaps, this tree is the most valuable of all to the perfumer. In the end, exploring the bitter orange tree's 5 fragrant gifts is both practical education and romantic journey. From the sunlit top notes of the peel, through the dappled green heart of the leaves, into the sultry night of the blossoms, we experience a complete olfactory story. Whether you are blending a simple cologne or crafting a complex bouquet, these materials offer a wealth of possibilities. They can refresh, brighten, sweeten, or deepen a perfume. They can stand alone in singular beauty or entwine together in a harmonious chorus. For perfumers and scent enthusiasts alike, the bitter orange tree exemplifies the art of natural perfumery. For perfumers and scent enthusiasts alike, the bitter orange tree exemplifies the art of natural perfumery, an ordinary garden tree with an extraordinary spectrum of scents, each one an essential chapter in perfumery's lore. Thank you for joining me on this scented path through the bitter orange grove. If something here has sparked your imagination, a pairing you want to try, a memory stirred, or a question blooming, I'd love to hear from you. You can connect with me through the Natural Perfume Academy or leave a comment wherever you're listening. Until next time, may your blends be bold and your spirit be grounded.